A mastersmith leans over a bed of glowing coals, not just hammering steel, but supposedly whispering his own madness into the blade. For centuries, the name Muramasa has been synonymous with a terrifying bloodlust. Swords that refuse to be sheathed until they have tasted human flesh, even if it means turning on their own masters. But here is the real mystery. Was this a genuine supernatural curse, or a brilliant piece of psychological warfare designed to bring down Japan's most powerful dynasty? To understand the legend, we have to look past the ghosts and into the chaotic, blood-soaked era where these blades were born. In the late 15th century, Japan was a land of constant fire and steel, a time known as the Sengoku, or Warring States period. Honor was everything, but survival was rare, and the demand for weapons that wouldn't shatter in the heat of battle was at an all-time high. Enter Sengo Muramasa, a man who didn't just make swords. He revolutionized the way they were built. Based in the Ise province, Muramasa founded a school of smithing that prioritized one thing above all else: brutal, terrifying efficiency. His blades were famous for their heimen, or temper lines, symmetrical wave-like patterns that looked like flickering flames frozen in steel. But it wasn't the art that samurai craved, it was the edge, which was reportedly so sharp it could slice a falling hair or a floating leaf without a sound. Because they were so reliable, Muramasa swords became the preferred weapon for the warriors of Mikawa province. This specific regional popularity is the first clue in debunking the supernatural, but it's also exactly why the curse became so personal. Among those Mikawa samurai was a rising family that would eventually rule all of Japan, the Tokugawa. For the Tokugawa, the name Muramasa wasn't a mark of quality. It was a death sentence written in steel. The tragedies began in 1535, when Tokugawa Ieyasu's grandfather, Kiyoyasu, was cut down by his own retainer in a fit of sudden, inexplicable paranoia. The weapon used in the assassination? A Muramasa blade. Years later, Ieyasu's father, Hirotada, was stabbed by a drunken vassal who had lost his mind in a blind rage. Once again, when the signature on the dagger was checked, the name Sengo Muramasa stared back at them. Even Ieyasu himself couldn't escape the pattern. As a young man, he was handling a Muramasa blade when it slipped, slicing his hand so deeply it left a permanent scar and a lasting fear. It started to feel as though the swords themselves had a grudge, a sentient hatred for the Tokugawa bloodline. The breaking point came with the death of Ieyasu's own son, Nobuyasu, who was ordered to commit ritual suicide after being accused of treason. The Kaishakunin, the second who performed the final merciful blow, used a Muramasa sword to take the young man's head. By the time Ieyasu became shogun, he was convinced. These weren't just tools, they were demonic vessels, or yoto, designed to hunt his family. He officially banned the blades, ordering them destroyed or hidden, turning a brand of sword into a prohibited contraband overnight. This ban backfired in the most fascinating way possible. It turned the Muramasa into the ultimate symbol of the resistance. If the shogun feared these blades, then every rebel, every ronin, and every political rival wanted one. Opponents of the Tokugawa began to specifically seek out Muramasa swords, believing that if they were destined to kill the shogunate, they were the perfect weapon for a coup. The curse wasn't just a ghost story anymore. It was a political statement, a physical manifestation of defiance. Was Muramasa actually a madman who forged his insanity into the steel, as later plays and legends claimed? Historical records suggest he was likely just a highly successful businessman who produced a massive volume of high-quality weapons. Because his blades were so common in that specific region, the laws of probability dictated they would be the weapons involved in most local incidents. It's like saying a specific car brand is cursed because it's the most common car in a city where accidents happen. It's not magic, it's math. But humans aren't driven by math. We are driven by stories. And the legend of the Muramasa needed a foil, a light to its darkness. This gave rise to the famous myth of the contest between Muramasa and the legendary smith Masamune. The story says they placed their blades in a river to see which was superior. Muramasa's blade cut everything, leaves, fish, even the very air, displaying a ruthless, indiscriminate hunger for destruction. But when Masamune's blade was placed in the water, the leaves swirled around it and the fish swam past, untouched. A watching monk explained that Masamune's sword was the true masterpiece because it possessed the wisdom to know what not to cut. This legend, while historically impossible since the two lived centuries apart, perfectly captures the Japanese philosophy of the soul of the sword. It cemented Muramasa's reputation not just as a smith, but as a creator of evil power, power without morality. Today, that reputation has moved from the battlefield to the console, appearing in games like Final Fantasy, Neo, and Muramasa, the Demon Blade. In pop culture, the Muramasa name is a universal code for a weapon that gives you immense strength, but slowly drains your health or sanity. We are still obsessed with the idea that our tools can take on a life of their own, reflecting the darker parts of our nature. The real Sengo Muramasa may have died over 400 years ago, but his name remains one of the most feared in history. Whether it was a series of unlucky coincidences or a smith who truly tapped into something dark, the Muramasa legacy proves one thing. A sword doesn't just cut flesh, it cuts through time, carrying the fears and superstitions of an entire nation with it. So, the next time you see a legendary weapon in a story, ask yourself, is the power in the object or in the story we've built around it? Because as the Tokugawa learned, sometimes a legend is the one thing you can't kill with a sword.